Welcome to our channel dedicated to nurturing girl relationships. Here, we delve into the intricacies of everyday issues individuals encounter in their lives. Let's commence with today's topic. I'm a 21-year-old male, and for the past 3 years, I've been the legal guardian of my 12-year-old little brother. However, the truth is, I've been looking after him for much longer than that. It all began a decade ago when our father passed away. Following his demise, my mother spiraled out of control. She would vanish for weeks on end, eventually ceasing all contact with us. Consequently, I essentially forfeited my teenage years to care for my brother. During those tumultuous times, we faced severe hardships. We had no familial support, no means to sustain ourselves. I vividly recall a period where we went without food for 2 weeks. Witnessing my brother cry from hunger, I sacrificed what little sustenance we had, foregoing my own needs. Our situation was dire. We lacked electricity, couldn't afford bills. Thus, I resorted to cuddling my brother to stave off the cold of our unheated home. Fortunately, the house we lived in was owned outright by our father, and my mother never bothered to transfer it into her name, sparing us from rental expenses. Our fortunes shifted when, at the age of 14, I secured a job washing dishes. Though it meant toiling every day after school until late into the night, it provided us with a lifeline. Several years later, I learned that my mother had remarried and was residing in Ireland. This revelation triggered a profound emotional breakdown, but I persevered, continuing to shoulder the responsibility of raising and providing for my brother. Fast forward to the present, I'm in college, and my brother is now 12. Upon turning 18, I legally became his guardian, a role he now refers to me with the endearing term dad. Financially, we're more stable. I've secured a better part-time job, and we rent out spare rooms in our house to augment our income. To optimize earnings, my brother and I share a room. Recently, my mother reached out to my brother via Facebook, expressing remorse for her absence and longing to reconnect. She's planning a visit to our country, Norway, and wishes to see him. Despite her attempts to communicate, I've made it clear to my brother that he cannot meet her. I've forbidden him from doing so, fearing the potential repercussions. He doesn't fully recollect when she departed nor comprehends the extent of my sacrifices to ensure his well-being. While he may possess a vague understanding, I'm hesitant to divulge the harsh realities, fearing he may blame himself. Thus, I find myself pondering, am I in the wrong for prohibiting my brother from reuniting with our mother? In my view, I'm not. I'm merely safeguarding him from potential harm. It's a protective measure necessitated by our tumultuous past. So, am I the antagonist in this scenario? I don't believe so. I'm simply prioritizing my brother's welfare, shielding him from potential emotional turmoil. Okay, so here's the thing. I believe it's crucial for you to sit your brother down and explain the full extent of what happened. He probably has some recollection of the past events, but filling in the gaps might help him grasp why you're taking the stance you are. Moreover, there's a possibility he might seek answers from your mother someday, and you wouldn't want her to downplay the sacrifices you had to endure. He deserves to hear the truth from someone who lived through it. While I agree that you're not the antagonist here, and you're trying to protect your brother, withholding information might be causing him pain. He may still yearn to see his mother, and understanding the reasons behind your decision could make him more cooperative. However, you should also make him aware of the potential risks involved in meeting her and let him have the choice, albeit with caution. Refusing him outright might lead to unexpected consequences, such as him seeking contact with her behind your back. At 18, you assumed the role of a parent to your brother, and until he reaches that age, it's your responsibility to safeguard him. You're aware of the potential fallout from your mother's reappearance, and seeking therapy together could aid both of you in processing your childhood experiences. This will not only shed light on why your mother left, but also help your brother understand the sacrifices you made and the hardships you endured, including childhood poverty and excessive responsibility at a young age. Your unwavering dedication to your brother's well-being is truly admirable, and the sacrifices you've made along the way speak volumes about your strength and resilience. It's clear that your mother's abandonment had a profound impact on both of you, and you're fully justified in your decision not to allow her back into your lives. Her actions have severed any right she might have had to a second chance. In light of her upcoming visit, it's crucial to prioritize your brother's safety and emotional well-being above all else. Maintaining your stance and taking proactive measures to shield him from any potential harm is paramount. Scheduling time away during her visit can provide a necessary buffer, allowing you both some respite from the emotional turmoil her presence may bring. Blocking her from your brother's social media accounts is a prudent step to prevent any unwanted contact or manipulation. Additionally, informing the authorities about her return ensures that appropriate measures can be taken to mitigate any potential disruptions or conflicts that may arise. By taking these proactive steps, you're demonstrating your unwavering commitment to protecting your brother and creating a safe and stable environment for him to thrive in. Your actions speak volumes about your dedication to his well-being, and you should take pride in your role as his guardian and protector. Moving on to the next story. Your parents' journey is indeed a classic tale. Meeting in their mid-20s, your mom, a former collegiate cheerleader, and your dad, a football player, epitomize the quintessential romance. Fast forward 30 years, and they're still going strong with 3 grown children. Your older siblings, aged 24, don't seem inclined towards having children themselves. Your brother is engaged to his fiancée, and they've expressed no desire for kids, while your sister, also engaged, hasn't shown any interest in starting a family. It sounds like you're facing quite a bit of pressure from your parents regarding dating and starting a family, but your circumstances and feelings don't align with their expectations. As far as your siblings and parents are concerned, your sister's health condition makes having children unlikely, and your brother's preferences also rule out grandchildren. Then, there's you. From what you've observed, your reproductive capabilities seem fine, and you're interested in women. However, you've experienced a lack of reciprocated interest from women since your adolescence, leading you to believe that being single might be your reality. This starkly contrasts with your father's advice, stemming from his experiences as a charming and athletic individual, which unfortunately doesn't resonate with your own situation as a self-described socially awkward individual. Your mother, a psychiatrist, sees things differently. She perceives your reticence with dating as a manifestation of low self-esteem and offers her professional guidance, albeit unsolicited from your perspective. This disconnect exacerbates tensions between you and your parents, particularly during a recent visit home. Your mother's passive-aggressive remarks about your dating life and your father's insistence on you overcoming your supposed fears culminate in a heated exchange, where you unequivocally reject the notion of ever providing them with grandchildren or getting married. The fallout from your confrontation extends to your siblings labeling you as ungrateful and your parents being visibly upset, with your mother in tears and your father offering you a reproachful look before consoling her. Ultimately, you retreat to your dorm room, feeling misunderstood and unsupported by your family. Reflecting on the situation, while your parents may have good intentions, their pressure and inability to comprehend your perspective only serve to exacerbate tensions. It's evident that there's a fundamental disconnect between their expectations and your reality. You're not an antagonist for expressing your feelings and setting boundaries, but perhaps there's room for open communication and understanding on both sides. While it's true that you're under no obligation to fulfill your parents' desire for grandchildren, it might be worth considering seeking support if you feel resigned to a life of singleness. Original poster is only 20 years old, after all, and if he harbors hopes for a relationship in the future, resigning himself to perpetual singlehood might not be the healthiest mindset. I'm also 20, and despite never having been in a relationship or even kissed a guy, I'm hopeful that my final year of college won't define my romantic prospects forever. Who knows, perhaps I'll find a wealthy husband to provide some stability in my life. You're not the antagonist here for refusing to conform to your parents' expectations, but maybe don't be too hard on yourself either. It's clear that there's some doubt regarding your ability to find a partner, even if you believe your self-esteem is intact. Considering therapy, albeit not from your mother, could help address these underlying issues, particularly how you perceive rejection and others' perceptions of you. Your past experiences don't dictate your future, just as someone who's only known abusive relationships isn't destined to be perpetually abused. There's hope for you to find happiness and companionship, so don't lose faith just yet. Your reproductive choices are entirely your own, and nobody else, not even your parents, should have a say in them. However, on matters beyond reproduction, it's worth noting that you're still young at 20. As someone who's faced challenges with appearance and social acceptance, I can attest that love often comes unexpectedly and later in life. My first kiss didn't happen until I was 23, and I found my first boyfriend at 24, who is now my husband. So, while your parents may express disappointment, remember that your choices are valid, and there's plenty of time ahead to explore relationships and find fulfillment. To reiterate, you don't owe your parents grandchildren simply because they raised you. Their desires shouldn't dictate your life choices. They may need time to come to terms with your decisions, but suggesting alternative ways for them to engage with children, such as volunteering, might help shift their focus. In the end, your happiness and well-being should take precedence over any external expectations. It seems that the source of this conflict stems from the constant teasing and unwarranted meddling of your stepbrother, especially concerning your choice of baby names. Despite your efforts to stick with conventional names like Jason, Chris, or Adam, his mockery and criticism persisted, leading you to change the names due to the negative associations he created. This behavior, disguised as harmless teasing, extended to your current pregnancy, where he continued to pressure you to reveal the chosen name. The breaking point occurred during a recent family gathering when your stepbrother once again pressured you to disclose the name. Feeling frustrated by his relentless interference, you exploded, expressing your refusal to divulge the name out of fear that he would tarnish it with his ridicule, as he had done previously. Despite his shocked reaction and subsequent withdrawal, your father rebuked you for your outburst, insisting that your stepbrother's actions were merely well-intentioned advice and opinions. However, it's clear that your stepbrother's behavior crosses a line, causing you unnecessary stress and influencing your decisions regarding your children's names. While your father may believe he's offering guidance, it's crucial to assert your boundaries and stand firm against such unwarranted interference. Your reluctance to share the name stems from a desire to protect yourself and your family from further harassment, a sentiment that should be respected rather than admonished. In conclusion, you're not the antagonist in this scenario. Rather, you're defending your right to make choices for your family without undue influence. It's imperative to address this issue with your father and foster an understanding of the boundaries you've set regarding your children's names. This may alleviate tension within the family and reaffirm your autonomy in decision-making. It's utterly frustrating when individuals engage in behavior that causes distress and upset to others under the guise of jokes or teasing, only to demand apologies when faced with a reaction. Your stepbrother's involvement in this matter is particularly peculiar. One wonders if he harbors feelings of competition or jealousy. Perhaps it's time to triple down and confront him, tearfully expressing how his actions have amounted to harassment against a pregnant woman. Point out the irony of his insistence on knowing the baby's name when he's been nothing but a source of misery during previous pregnancies. Your father's role in this dynamic is also worth addressing. He ought to step back and support you rather than admonishing you for standing up for yourself. It's clear that your stepbrother's actions, disguised as jokes and teasing, have been hurtful and unwelcome. His repeated interference and belittlement of your name choices are indicative of bullying behavior, and he owes you an apology for the distress he's caused. Ignore the family pressure to apologize. Instead, hold your ground and demand accountability from both your stepbrother and your father. Your stepbrother's actions are not excused by labeling them as advice, and it's high time he recognizes the harm he's inflicted. As for your father, he needs to acknowledge the full extent of the situation and understand that your reaction was a response to years of mistreatment, not an isolated incident. If necessary, withhold information about your new baby until your stepbrother acknowledges his wrongdoing. Your child's names are your decision alone, and you shouldn't allow anyone to influence or undermine your choices. Remember, you're not the antagonist in this scenario. You're simply refusing to tolerate disrespectful behavior any longer. Stand firm, demand respect, and don't back down until justice is served.